FPL game week 31, wildcard draft and team selection. We have a very quick turnaround with the deadline on Saturday. So in today's video, we'll be going a review of how my wildcard 30 has gone, some injury updates, and also my team selection for game week 31. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button and hit that subscribe, and let's get into it. What's up? It's FPL Vert, where arrows go green, and currently ahead of the last game of the game week with Chelsea versus Spurs later, we're currently on the green arrow. So we will review my game week 30 team later in the video, but first some updates. After 101 days, Bukayo Saka returned from injury and marked his return with a goal 7 minutes after coming on, much to the delight of Arsenal fans as he put the Gunners up 2-0 after Mikel Merino had opened the scoring, before Rodrigo Muniz wiped out the clean sheet in added time to record a 2-1 victory over Fulham. But before one key player returned, another had to be withdrawn, as after just 16 minutes, Gabriel Magalhaes went down holding the back of his right hamstring. A quarter of an hour later, issues to the backline seemed to compound, with Jurriën Timber looking also to be injured, but he was able to continue following some treatment. But he was later replaced on 70 minutes. Mikel Arteta said, "We don't know how they're going to be," and revealed we will be assessing them tomorrow. He also added that if there are two players in this team that never want to come off, it's probably those two. So this will come as a huge disappointment to Arsenal, as they were dealing with injuries defence already, with Riccardo Calafiori, who was also out for weeks following a slip with the Italian team over the international break, and Tomiyasu due to be out for the rest of 2025. Ben White also missed the game in game 30 against Fulham due to a little niggle. So unavailability to essential cogs in this Arsenal team has been a constant theme this season, with Martinelli having missed 3 months, Saka missing 4 months, Kai Havertz missing 4 months also, and Gabriel Jesus missing the rest of the season. So this makes me actually quite less likely to go on Saka, I think, because he just returned from injury after an extensive time out of action. And Arsenal also have 6 matches across a 19-day spell, as seen on the screen. So I'm not really convinced of Saka's minutes, and therefore I'm not recommending bringing him in until after the Champions League quarter-final with Real Madrid, as he returns to match fitness, because 6 matches in 19 days is an average of a game every 3 days. How many minutes do you really expect him to get? I'm not expecting many. So yeah, I'm holding off on Saka for now. Newly crowned Carabao Cup champions Newcastle kept the party going, recording a 2-1 victory over Brentford, with Alexander Isak opening the scoring before Brian Mbeumo levelled the score with a penalty won by Wissa. Sandro Tonali then won the game with an effort that he himself described as 70% cross and 30% shot. Eddie Howe's side are now 1 point off Manchester City in 5th place, and they have a game in hand also. So this will be played during the double game week in game week 32 as they host Manchester United and Crystal Palace. But before that, the Magpies travel to Leicester City in game week 31. But they have until Monday, but they may be without Alexander Isak and Trippier, as they are both substituted due to injury. Eddie Howe said he doesn't think that Isak was feeling 100% in his groin and in the movement, and that's why they had to withdraw him. And Kieran Trippier was also feeling a cramp sensation in his groin as well, and they're hoping it's nothing serious, but just a caution ahead of that game. So wildcard game week 31 is a popular window, so I put together my favourite draft and chip strategy for it. It's pretty similar to wildcard 30. In fact, the only differences to my own wildcard are actually Saliba for Gabriel and Tino Livramento for Dan Burn. So I guess the benefit is extra information, but I guess price changes, maybe it would have been better to go early, but whatever. Obviously, we wouldn't have known that Gabriel would have gotten injured, and he actually only played once over the international break, as he was suspended for Brazil's game against Argentina and came home early. Tino Livramento I actually had reservations on, because he was due to be playing on the opposite flank on his weaker foot with Lewis Hall out, which puts Trippier back in the team. And while he did put the cross in that eventually led to Isak's goal in the cup final against Liverpool, prior to game week 30, his expected goal involvement was terrible this season. It was actually worse than Dan Burn's. And Dan Burn also scored in the final, and he hit the woodwork twice for England against Albania in Tuchel's first game. So that's why I went there, but I probably would go for Livramento now. I ended up going for Marcus Rashford in the end due to his brace on the weekend in the FA Cup, and of course he keeps his spot when you score a brace, and he played up top as well, which was a bit of a surprise actually, but Emery said after the game that he wants him to compete with Watkins and maybe that they can play them together. So this makes him a lock in my opinion for Aston Villa's double, especially as he only just played 65 minutes before getting taken off, so that gave him 25 minutes to recover. So a review of my game week 30 so far. It's a green arrow. Yeah. 2 points above the safety score and a rise of 12k places. So after today, I'll be on 68 points after Palmer's 18 pointer and probably rise about 30k places, but we'll see. David Raya had his clean sheet wiped out in the 94th minute to compound my Arsenal coverage after Gabriel went off injured, but it's good if anyone that had Saliba, because that means they didn't get the points. Anyone that had Timber would have gotten the clean sheet points though, but that's okay. And also I didn't go for Saka because obviously I wasn't convinced on his minutes, but congrats if you went there, I guess. Crystal Palace managed to drop points against bottom side Southampton as my triple up all managed to blank. But my City double up delivered as Captain Marmoush scored their second, with Gvardiol keeping a clean sheet, barely conceding any chances, 0.02 XG for Leicester. Going against Salah paid off as Liverpool got back on track in their pursuit of the Premier League in a very tight 1-0 Merseyside derby win over rivals Everton. And that was their first win following back-to-back exits in the Champions League and the Carabao Cup. Rashford opened the scoring for Aston Villa away at Brighton as I benched Martinez's clean sheet points, and I also managed to bench Jacob Murphy's assist to Isak, but that's okay, he'll be starting next week. So the team selection ahead of the Saturday deadline. David Raya and Arsenal travel to Everton in the early kickoff. The Toffees are now winless for 5 Premier League games, and they have 2 or less goals in each of their past 4 league games also. They've actually also been 2 or less goals in all of the 3 previous meetings at Goodison against Arsenal, so definitely don't expect a goal show in this one. Hopefully we can get some saves. Gabriel's injury means we have no defensive selection dilemmas this week, so Daniel Munoz and Crystal Palace welcome Brighton in the A23 derby. These games tend to be also pretty goal shy, with 2 or less goals in each of the last 5 home meetings against the Seagulls, but Brighton are undefeated in each of their last 6 trips to Selhurst Park, and both teams have scored in each of the last 7 home meetings, so we're hoping for the attacking returns in this one. Josko Gvardiol travels to Manchester United in the Manchester derby, with Man City having won 2 of the last 3 trips to Old Trafford, keeping a clean sheet in both wins. Dan Burn is on the road for Monday Night Football at the King Power Stadium. Leicester have actually failed to score in each of their last 7 league games, and they've also failed to score against Newcastle in 4 attempts. So clean sheet prospects look decent here. It would be great if Dan Burn can replicate his final heroics with a goal also. Mohamed Salah and Liverpool are in West London this weekend as they go to Craven Cottage in search for 3 points, knowing that they're 4 wins and a draw away from Premier League glory. Cole Palmer has a short trip to West London as Chelsea visit Brentford. Brentford are the only team in the Premier League yet to keep a clean sheet at home this season, and they're winless in the last 7 at the G-Tech Community Stadium. So hopefully Palmer's double-digit return tonight will spur him on to continue his good form on Sunday in this one. Marcus Rashford faces a Nottingham Forest side that have conceded at least 2 goals in each of the last 4 away league games, a run that includes relegation side Ipswich Town, so hopeful of at least a goal here, maybe for Rashford. Jacob Murphy will look to build on his assist to Isak as Newcastle travel to Leicester City. Jean-Philippe Mateta will look to improve on his showing at Southampton as he navigates his return from injury. Maybe he starts from the bench on this one because he was hooked before the 60th minute. Omar Mamouche will hope he can find the net in his 4th successive game for Manchester City in the Manchester derby. And Alexander Isak is set to wear the armband for me as they travel to Leicester City. And the vice will probably be Salah or Palmer, depending on how Palmer plays tonight, as vice in case Isak misses out. So that's the team selection for today. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments or message me on Instagram or Twitter, and I'll answer them all way before the deadline. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.